Thinking about buying a business but leaning towards the smaller businesses because you feel that they're going to be a little less risky? What if I told you that the opposite is true? The bigger is better when it comes to buying a business. So in today's video, I'm going to show you why buying a bigger business is a safer bet. Let's get to it. Everybody, welcome to my channel. I am your host, Leo Landaverde, business broker and commercial lender, helping you buy and scale a profitable business. If you're a small business owner looking to increase your wealth by buying a profitable business, or a W-2 employee sick and tired of the rat race, wanting to leave it behind by buying a profitable business, you are in the right place. Please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell and you'll be notified every Thursday when new content comes out. So I'm going to tell you today what buying a bigger business is better than a smaller business. But before I get into the bigger business, I want to tell you the risks when you're buying a small business. So I want to tell you 3 different things that you need to be worried about. Number 1 is high failure rate for small businesses. It is not a secret that most of the businesses that fail in the US, startups or smaller businesses, and 90% of them are $1 million of revenue or less. That's sort of the smaller has a higher, statistically, smaller businesses have a higher failure rate, particularly because they're relying more on the owner, have fewer clients, less capital buffers, and a lot of the smaller businesses have smaller barriers of entries, which means that there's lots of competition. So number 2 is cash flow volatility. Smaller businesses often have less cash flow, and cash is king when it comes to running a business. Cash is working capital. You have no working capital, you have no business. So because of this up and down roller coaster ride that most small business owners deal with, a lot of them try to dump those smaller businesses because they don't know how to manage them properly. And they'll tell you they're retiring even though they're 45 years old, and a bunch of other things that don't really make sense. And a lot of it's cash flow volatility. Did you know that a business could actually turn a profit on paper on an accrual base, but yet going out of business at the same time? Why? It's understanding the intricacies of AR versus cash. And a lot of business owners, small business owners, don't have the wherewithal to invest in good bookkeeping and a good CPA to help them grow where they need to be, something that bigger businesses have, which I'm going to tell you in a little bit. Third, and most important for the small businesses, is this hyper reliance and owner dependence. Owner dependence. Smaller businesses tend to revolve around the current owner. Current owner does it all. So if you want to buy yourself a job, when you're buying a smaller business, you're essentially buying yourself a job. You're going to wear all the hats: CEO, CFO, COO, account manager, and janitorial person. They're involved in every decision. Their departure can cause major disruptions. So keep that in mind. So now I'm going to tell you why buying a bigger business is a safer bet. So number 1 is you're buying an existing brand, a tried and true ecosystem, a local household name that comes with fully vetted intellectual property, systems, talented employees. Larger businesses often have seasoned, skilled employees, particularly if you're getting into the trades. Hard to find good employees. And guess what? A lot of the good employees are attracted to bigger companies because bigger companies spell more stability. So you see, it's time to make the connections. This can significantly reduce the learning curve for a new owner. So if you're buying a bigger business, it will have infrastructure in terms of employees. Anything over 10 employees, you're going to have seasoned employees. Ideally, you're going to have managers in different departments. So you're going to have the manager, customer service manager, you're going to have operations manager, you're going to have a GM, a general manager, which is actually the holy grail when you're buying a bigger business. In fact, bigger businesses are bought in adjusted EBITDA. You take the net income plus all the EBITDA plus the add backs, and you're going to arrive at a set of discretionary earnings minus the cost of hiring a GM, which could be an employee who's already on payroll to run the business, and it just spells a process, a system. Everybody knows what to do. In a business, go back to the existing brand. An existing brand has perfected the way they do business, sometimes over decades. They have evolved over time. They have taken advantage of every tool that the market is coming up with. Now, this thing now what we're dealing with in 2024, when you're watching this video, is the advent of AI, artificial intelligence. And businesses that have been around for decades have learned to overcome all these challenges over time. So they have the systems and the trappings to make them go successful no matter what's going on in the world, whether it's recession, pandemics, and up and downs. When you're buying an existing brand, people look towards an existing brand. So let me give you an example. If you're driving down the streets and you're thinking about buying a trade business, HVAC, electrical, roofing, and the like, anything that has a van that is driving up and have a beautiful color, a van with that brand, and you lived in your house for a few years and you see that van going up and down every so often. Now, it's whether you think about it or not, in the back of your mind, unconsciously, you are really paying homage to this brand. You see this brand and you say, wait a minute, I see them all the time. They must be busy. They must be good. And then you cross-reference with social media. If businesses that have evolved have the social media platforms, they are known. They know how to capture customers. That's what a brand does. A brand attracts loyal customers. So that's why I am in favor of you buying a bigger business, which means it requires a little more cash, but you're tapping into larger income streams, usually north of $500,000 or more in adjusted EBITDA. Okay, so let's get to point number 2. Proven systems and processes. Now, we're talking SOPs, manuals, books worth of operating procedures. Now, in a smaller business, you're going to have everything residing on the head of the owner. Owner goes away, there goes all the knowledge. Bigger businesses realize that, hey, we need to have a procedure, a standard operating protocol for everything, from how we do bookkeeping, how we do accounting, how do we file our tax returns, how do we answer the phone, how do we do customer service, how do we take an order. By the way, all of them come with forms, Gantt charts, workbooks, Excels, systems, software, a way to do things. One of the things that I've said before in the past, and the reason why the largest franchisees in the world, like McDonald's and Starbucks, what you're buying is an ecosystem, a brand that comes with a huge binder, an SOP book. Nothing is left to chance. Do you know what to do next, or stuck and trying to figure out what to do next and don't know how to buy a business? You're not alone. Lots of people feel this way, people who watch my videos. So if you want to connect with me and learn more about what it's like buying a business the right way, drop me a comment, send me an email, get a hold of me. My contact information is up here and at the description section of this video. Because what I like to do is walk you through the whole process and the frameworks that we use to help folks like you buy a business, a profitable business. Connect with me. The head of customer service walks out. There is a procedure how to recoup everything. It's documented, and there is basically redundancies around the systems and procedures, so not all that knowledge is concentrated in one person. That only happens when you have bigger businesses. Bigger businesses typically have systems in place for everything, accounting to operations, marketing, and then some. Now, here's one thing you need to know. When you buy a business, you're paying for the past but betting for the future. Well, what does the future hold? Well, first thing that I think about is, how is revenue going to be generated? The average cost of acquiring a customer, return on ad spend. Remember, you can always work your way out of anything if you have the revenue coming in, but you will never cut your way expenses into profitability. It doesn't work that way. So you have to think about, as a business owner, what are the systems and procedures set in place to generate leads, lead generation, lead capture, CRMs, salespeople, marketing, in front, perpetuating that brand that comes with the system procedure. So you got a 1-2 punch. You got your 16 brand with embedded hard rock core foundation of systems and procedures. Now, if that wasn't enough, well, here's the thing that you have to remember when you're buying a bigger business. You're buying a business, not a job, which is the thing that I talk about in my YouTube channel quite often. Now, here's the thing, sort of the perfect angle where you look at it. If you actually can afford to get into a bigger business, north of $500,000 worth of discretionary or adjusted EBITDA, is the potential for semi-absentee or an absentee play, which I know we talk about inside of our group. It's kind of the joke. There is no such thing as truly absentee anything when you own a business. But if you have the systems, you have the people, you have the brand, well, guess what? The billionaires have figured out a way how to build businesses that run without them. They can actually afford to take a month off. What is the whole point of buying a business if you cannot walk away from it a couple of weeks at a time? I have built such a business as myself that I'm able to walk away for 10 days and nothing is going to fall apart. Reduce day-to-day involvement potential. That's what comes with a bigger business. In a well-run bigger business, the owner doesn't have to micromanage every detail. You are the CEO and you have a place, but you let your trusted folks do the rest. Now, the financial advantages of buying a bigger business are this. You get one, access to better financing because bigger businesses have better accounting and bookkeeping. I love to see the financials or businesses that are doing $2, $3, $4, $5 million a year in revenue. They will actually run accrual, they will file cash, they will reconcile both, they will do their bookkeeping, everything ties nice. If you were to do an audit on a bigger business, you're gonna come pretty close to the real thing because the source documents are gonna be there. Everybody knows what to do. There's enough money in the business to hire professionals to do the things like accounting and finance. And lenders love good bookkeeping and accounting. Remember, from the lender's perspective, it's all about risk mitigation. If they ask you a few questions on a few documents during due diligence and you were able to produce this because the businesses get records of everything, you see where I'm going with that? It's much easier to mitigate the risk. You may or may not know this, but the entire SBA, Small Business Loan, the 7(a) program, is actually an ecosystem built around bigger deals. A $500,000 SBA loan is considered a puny little loan in the eyes of SBA. A lot of lenders don't even like doing those loans. There's a thing is called the SBA Express loan that is $350. They just don't like doing them. There's only maybe 10, 15% of all banks as preferred lenders that actually do those. They are cumbersome and they're actually more difficult to get approved than the bigger deals. So think about that. Second, it's economies of scale when it comes to the financial advantages. Larger businesses benefit from economies of scale. Remember I told you about the brand and the SOPs? Well, they already have the foundation set to rinse and repeat in different locations. A lot of these private equity groups and family offices and high net worth individuals that come to me every day, they're looking for such thing as platform companies when they can bolt on or do roll-ups where they can actually keep quiet. But only happens when you have a strong foundation of a rock-solid brand. Economies of scales. Smaller businesses don't often have the leverage to negotiate better terms with vendors. So if you have a business that is doing $1 million a year and they're procuring some type of supplies to grow the business, they're not going to get better terms as the business that is doing $10 to $20 million and using the same vendor, but they're consuming a whole lot more value. Think about it from the vendor's perspective. They want to deal with the bigger people. It's the same work. You're just going to make more money. So bigger is better. And last but not least, higher valuation multiples. Bigger businesses tend to have higher valuation multiples. Why? Because tried and true businesses expel less risk, which means that the investors, in this case, not the owner-operators, are willing to pay a little more for stability. There is such thing as a stability. This is why publicly traded companies sometimes trade between 15 to 25 times earnings because they built a system. Bigger is better. Always be that way. So I hope that it's able to sway you one way. It is better to buy a $2 million business with $500,000 in SD than $1 million with 250. Now, if you're able to, one of the things that we have inside of our groups, that we're starting to find people who are coming together to buy bigger deals. Bigger is better. So if you want to know more about what it's like working with me, reach out to me. Thank you so much for watching this video. A limited time, I'm giving away my cash flow calculator, the Deal Analyzer 2.0, that has been downloaded a couple thousand times. What it helps you do is figure out exactly what the business valuation is, exactly what the value range is, what you should be worried about, debt service coverage ratio, post and debt service cash flow, and multiple other signals that you need to understand if this business is worth buying. So also, I'm giving away my business buyer's checklist, which is a 6-page document that you absolutely need if you're going to buy a business, especially if you haven't done it before. Those are my gifts to you for watching my content and subscribing to my list. Please download them below if you need them.